the plays are in the playbook. Why were we not utilizing them? Why did it take 2.5 games to start pushing the ball down the field? Turns out this guy AJ Brown's like really effing good, and if he's one-on-one on the outside, throw him the ball and like he's gonna make good things happen. And he was an absolute monster. He was prime AJ Brown.
Philly pride and Sistad soul. Andrew Rappin and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes. It seems. Philly verse and wide. Hear the call. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear. Join the chat. It's time to hear. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, Sistad, glad unite. Philly and Y in the spotlight.
All right, what is cracking, everybody? Welcome to episode number 70. Today I will be doing a solo pod. So you've got me here. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the two New York teams. I'll touch briefly on the Jets, briefly on the Giants, but obviously the main course for this episode is going to be the crazy Eagles game that happened this past weekend against the Rams. Andrew was not able to make it today. He was feeling under the weather. He watched the entirety of the Jets game yesterday, and it left him feeling very sick. So get well soon, Andrew. Only 3 more months to go. But I just, like I said, I want to just start with the two New York teams just to touch on them briefly. The Jets lose another heartbreaker where, I wasn't following super closely, but I kind of am caught up to speed with what's going on here. But they lose a heartbreaker. They're down big in the fourth quarter. They come roaring back. They have a blocked kick that they returned for a touchdown just minutes after the Eagles did the exact same thing. So just a really crazy coincidence that happened. But ultimately, they end up losing the game. They fall to 0-3, and I don't really know what to say. They're a disaster. Unfortunately, just like an outsider's perspective, this is kind of what I expect from the Jets. Like, it's kind of the least surprising thing that they're 0-3 at this point. So I really feel for their fans. It really does seem like it's the same old Jets. Just a really heartbreaking loss. So they take the lead after that return touchdown with not a lot of time left, and Baker Mayfield did what Baker Mayfield does, which is lead his team down for a game-winning field goal, and obviously that's how they ended up sinking the Jets. But just a heartbreaker. And again, they fall to 0-3. I remember specifically when we had Jake Assman on earlier in the year for like his Jets preview, and I kind of asked him this question along the lines of I was trying to be kind of nice and dance around it, but like he was giving his reasons for being optimistic about the Jets this year, and I just remember thinking like, man, like every year it's the same thing. Like, why would there be any reasons for optimism for the Jets? And he had his reasons, which I wasn't really too keen on, but I guess they made sense to him. And so far they've just been really bad. So the good news, though, Andrew wanted me to tell you all that Tyrod Taylor was number 1 in CPOE this week. So congratulations. That sounds great. But seriously, in all seriousness, there is a little bit of reason for Jets optimism coming up here. And it's not that the team looks good or that they're going to play good, but I was just looking, this upcoming schedule is really doable for the Jets. So next week they're playing the Dolphins, which, look, could go either way. I'm not saying the Jets are going to win all of these games, but I think they at least have a pretty good shot in winning a handful of the next games. So they're Monday night, they play the Dolphins, then they have the Cowboys at home, the Broncos at home, the Panthers at home, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Patriots. So that's like 7, what I would say, winnable games. So if you can go, 4-3, or if you're really optimistic, go 5-2, um, then you're kind of right back in it. That would get you right back up to what, 8 and I don't know what that get you back up to, but 5-5 if they were to go 5-2 in those next 7 games. So I don't know. Is it likely? Probably not, but it's at least feasible that they start to rack up some wins here. And then they have the Ravens, so they'll lose that game. But then even after that, it goes Falcons at home, Dolphins at home, Jaguars, Saints, and Patriots. So like the remainder of this schedule, there's pretty much only, and then the Bills are the last week of the year, which theoretically the Bills will be resting their starters. So I don't even want to say it to jinx it, but like there's really only one like surefire loss the rest of the way on the Jets schedule, and that is November 23rd against the Ravens in Baltimore. So we'll see what happens. Again, I don't think that they're going to be turning the season around by any means, but if you are a Jets optimist, which I'm not sure why you would be, I don't know if any of those exist out there, there's a little bit of hope for just at least playing some meaningful games, maybe being in the hunt, as they say, towards the end of the year. So take that for what you will. And yeah, I don't really know how to transition or segue. That's usually Andrew's job. So I'm just going to jump right into Big Blue. So the New York Giants, they lose to the Chiefs. They fall to 0-3. They just kind of suck. Like there's not really much to say. They're not very interesting. They don't really have a lot of good players. They're just not a very good team. They look like they struggle to get anything going on offense. They're pretty one-dimensional. They have like one good player on their offense. Even though Andrew Thomas came back, he's really good. But skill position-wise, yeah, they have one guy. And if you can slow him down, then you have a pretty good chance at winning. Now, the Chiefs have a really good secondary, so they were able to do a pretty good job on Neighbors from what I saw. But yeah, they're not very good. They're probably going to continue to lose the next few games and then put Jackson Dart in. That's what they should do. At some point, you got to see if the kid's any good. But, I kind of agree with their approach right now, which is to sit him, let him learn a little bit. And again, I'm sure at some point they will cut him loose to see if he can play. A couple interesting storylines from this game. One, I was at there's a very big seafood festival in Point Pleasant, New Jersey every year. And I went there with my family this past Sunday, and I was wearing an Eagles hat. Actually, I bought this cool poster that you see behind me if you're looking on video. And there was a Giants fan who was behind me buying something, and they were trying to chirp and make fun of me, but like at some point it's just like, okay, you're a Giants fan, cool, like good luck, leave me alone. The interesting storyline though is, so last year obviously Saquon has the best season ever, and this year like it's Daniel Jones. And there I have some egg on my face because I ripped him pretty good over the past year or so, but man, he looks pretty good. Looks pretty good in Indianapolis. They call him Indiana Jones now, which is kind of corny, but I think it's a way better nickname than Danny Dimes. I always thought that was really dumb. But it's just so great. It's so hilarious to see all of these people leaving the Giants and just having career years. Xavier McKinney on the Packers. Obviously Saquon last year, Daniel Jones. It's just, as a Giants hater, it's amazing, and I love every second of it. The one thing I want to talk about that's interesting with this game, though, is so they had another instance where their kicker suited up and just couldn't kick. So I believe that's the third time over the past 2 or 3 years that this has happened. And I've been watching football for a while. I don't really ever remember this happening. I'm sure it's happened before, but it just seems so odd that they go into the game with the kicker who may or may not be compromised, and like it's a huge deal. Like, is it the reason why they're losing? I'm fairly certain. I probably should have looked this up, but I'm fairly certain that they're 0-3 in games that this happens. And like, I don't know. Can you really say, hey, we lost the game because our kicker got hurt? Maybe, maybe not, but like it absolutely changes the way that you coach and manage the game. That you are now going for it on every single fourth down instead of kicking manageable field goals. They didn't score a touchdown last night, but like, if you do score a touchdown, then you're going for two every single time, and oftentimes you might be missing out on those extra points. So just a weird situation that seems like so. It seems like such an avoidable thing to come up. It's a kicker, like it's a kicker. So like a normal team would just cut the kicker, salary cap be damned, and like yeah, a lot of these kickers, man, they like I feel like there's a lot of good kickers that are just available and they're out there. Like Jake Elliott, for example, they signed him in 2017. Caleb Sturgis, who was their kicker that year, got hurt very early in the year, and they signed Jake Elliott on like a Wednesday afternoon, and he's been there ever since. He's now been there for 8 years, and he's been really good, and he's made big kicks in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. And like again, they got him on a Tuesday just because he was available, and their kicker got hurt. So I think like it would just be such an easy thing to do to either put the kicker on IR or like I don't know, just cut the kicker. He seems to be pretty injury prone. Like it's not really worth it to have a kicker that's now been injured with soft tissue injuries like over the past few years. Like just cut him, get rid of him, sign somebody. Like I don't know. It just seems like a very, very silly, stupid thing that could be avoided if you were just going into these games with a little bit more of a better backup plan. Because the backup plan can't just be, okay, I guess we're gonna go for it every fourth down in the red zone, and I guess we're just gonna try 2-point conversions every single time we score a touchdown. So to me, it's crazy. I don't really know how Daboll survives the year here. Maybe he does, but like I don't know. It just seems it was such obvious fool's gold when he however many wins they had in 2022. Like they obviously weren't very good, and I feel like he's stuck around solely on the premise of, hey, he won Coach of the Year in 2022 when they got lucky a bunch of times, and then obviously got their asses kicked in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Again, they are 0-3 their next game, so they are then home to the Chargers. So pretty tough game. Although the Chargers have, I mean, they have to lose at some point, right? And going, they say that those 1 o'clock games for the West Coast teams can be a little tough. So we'll see. I don't think that would be the most shocking thing in the world if the Giants were to pull that game off. And then they have the Saints from, then they play the Saints after that. So a couple of semi-winnable games on the schedule for them coming up. I know the Chargers are pretty good. I don't know that I'm super sold on them yet, but I guess we will see. And now, finally, we get to talk about our beloved Philadelphia Eagles. What can you say? Just an all-time classic win, classic regular season game, amazing comeback. One of those games that you will just remember where you were when it happened. You'll like I will always remember where I was, who I was with, as I watched them win that game in the final seconds. And it was obviously a very ugly start. It was the ultimate tale of two halves. A lot of good, a lot of bad. Ultimately, they came out on top with the win. I will preface this by saying my goal, not my goal, but my desire for the team is to go 3-1 each month, specifically in September. They got their 3 wins in September. We all know they're going to lose next week, which I'll touch on later on after I wrap this game up. But yeah, they're 3-0, and that's the bottom line right now. I remember hearing somebody a long time ago say you can't win the division in September, but you can lose it. So, you know, these teams who are starting 0-3 or even 1-2, like they're in serious trouble. They're 3-0. It's as good as they can be right now. They're healthy. They started to show some signs of life towards the end of that game. So we'll start. I want to just briefly touch on the first half. Very bad offensively, just super ugly. Really, the only guy who came to play in the first half I thought was Zach Bond. Obviously, he had the really big interception the first drive of the game. Eagles go down and score off of that. He made a couple of other really big plays too. But credit to the defense when the offense just could not get anything going whatsoever. The defense stood pat, and they kept them in the game because they kept making the Rams settle for field goals, and they couldn't punch it in the end zone. Except for that one pass to Devontae Adams, which I still don't know why they didn't call that offensive pass interference, but that's beyond me. But yeah, just good job by the defense to just keep them in the game. But other than that, I mean, just a total ass kicking in the first half. I don't know for the life of me what they were trying to do on offense. Lane Johnson went down. His backup was awful, and it really showed they couldn't do anything. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't pass. Everybody looked very uncomfortable. The offensive line was getting pushed around. It was just a total disaster from basically right from the start after they scored that touchdown. So I don't know what happened in halftime. They went in, they made some adjustments, and they came out. Actually, they came out the second snap of the game. Jalen Hurts fumbled. He got clocked. That Lane Johnson's backup got destroyed. They got to Jalen. He fumbled the ball. They get the ball at the 10-yard line. They end up scoring a touchdown, and that was all they would score. And just again, shout out to the defense again, because other than that, the 2-play drive to start the second half, they completely shut the Rams down, completely, and it was really cool to see. So we'll get into that a little bit, but yeah, just a really encouraging sign from the offense. They just opened up the playbook, like they just did, and the thing that I kept saying to everybody was like, where was this? Like, it's there. The plays are in the playbook. Why were we not utilizing them? Why did it take 2.5 games to start pushing the ball down the field? Turns out this guy AJ Brown's like really effing good. And if he's one-on-one on the outside, throw him the ball, and like he's gonna make good things happen. And he was an absolute just monster. He was prime AJ Brown. Strong hands out of the break, just pushing guys over, throwing guys on the ground. Just like some of his plays, some of his yards after catch were just huge, and you could tell that it gave the Eagles that boost of energy that they needed. And he was really good, and it's so crucial for them to get him going. And he said something interesting after the game where they kind of asked him, "Hey, like, what took so long?" And he said something along the lines of like, "Hey, it seems like it seems like we're being a little too conservative on offense, and I don't think we should do that. Like, he said something like, we have some really good players on this team, we got some killers on this offense, and like just let us loose, let us do our thing. So that suggests that there are plays in the playbook that they're not utilizing. They're keeping it conservative for whatever reason, but like, it's time now. This offense was way too talented. Um, they have way too many good players to look this bad for the first few games here. So hopefully this was kind of the thing to get them clicking. Another positive that I take from this is like they still haven't gotten the running game going yet. It's a concern, but it's also, it also, like, we know the running game is going to get going at some point. Like, they're just too good, too talented with this offensive line and with this running back. Um, that, like, we know it's going to get going at some point. So that's exciting. Once they put a full game together, they're going to be pretty unstoppable. So whatever adjustments they made was great. Kevin Patullo, he's amazing. He's great. I've never said anything bad about him. He called a really good game in the second half, and I don't know how much of that was Hurts. I don't know how much of that was Patullo or Sirianni, but whatever they did, like, keep doing that, please. But they all got involved. Goddard had the touchdown. Um, Obviously, Smith had the touchdown. Smitty down, with a minute and change to go. But just really, really encouraging. The other thing that they did was they clearly, again, I wonder what took them so long to do this, but I forgot to mention this too. So Lane Johnson's backup got taken out. So right after they turned the ball over, they put the third stringer in, who is Fred Johnson, who was here for the past couple of years, and he was awesome. Like, big shout out to Fred Johnson. He really held it down. Once he got in the game, everything flipped, and they were able to move the ball a lot better. So really good job by him. They also went into the hurry up though. Everything was very quick. Once they started going, you could tell that there was they got into their hurry up offense and they were able to move the ball. I don't know if it's because the Rams were tired or they just weren't used to it, whatever the case may be. But that hurry up really, really did some damage. Yeah, talked about AJ Brown. The defense. So before I talk about the last drive, the defense was just incredible in the second half. Kind of one of the, I think, unsung heroes of the day for the Eagles. Not many people are talking about this, but I think Quinyon Mitchell was really good. Quinyon Mitchell covered per Andrew Devontae Adams on 27 of his 34 routes, and I thought he did a really good job on him. He's not really getting a lot of the credit today because it's all going to Jordan Davis and Zach Bond, but man, that Rams passing attack, that wide receiver tandem is really good. It's among the best in the league. So, you didn't really see Nakua or Devontae Adams have a huge game, and I think that Quinyon Mitchell had a really big part in that. But the star of the day is obviously Jordan Davis. What a story for this guy. This guy comes out. This is now his third or fourth year in the NFL. And first couple years he comes out, he showed some flashes, but he was never a consistent every down player who was consistently taking over games. And I think to start this year, I think the best player in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform has been Jordan Davis. I think week one, Jalen Carter gets ejected, as we all know, before he even plays a snap. So who has to step in and played a really good game was Jordan Davis. Last week, he was in the backfield all game long. And then this past week, just yesterday against the Rams, he completely wrecked the game. He and Jalen Carter were really good, but Jordan Davis specifically I thought he had three really good plays that before before the field goal blocks, Jordan Davis had some monster plays. And one of them I wanted to shout out. So this one kind of gets a little bit lost in all of the craziness that happened. The Rams had a chance. It was third down. late in the second half. I think it was in the fourth quarter, and Stafford tried running for a first down, and it looked like he had the angle. And out of nowhere comes Jordan Davis, chases him down. This is like the largest human being you've ever seen in your life. Chases down Stafford, knocks him out of bounds, forces a fourth down, and forces a punt. And like that was huge. It was a huge point in the game. If they get that first down, who knows what happens, but like it's just not something that you see from men that are that large. Um, the other thing that was really big, again another one, fourth down, late in the game, it's 4th and 1. The Rams are going for it, and they try to run a play to the right side, and Jordan Davis just absolutely blew the play up, and he stuffed the back for like 4 yards back in the backfield, and it was huge. Um, and then obviously, like the blocked field goal was everything. We'll touch on that in a little bit, but before they get to the blocked field goal, the second blocked field goal, they blocked the one, and that was like amazing. Like how often do you? I was trying to tell my wife like block field goals are so rare. Like you really see them a handful of times throughout the entire course of a year. And like the fact that they did it twice in a row to essentially win the game is just like unheard of. But so they did it the first time, and like you're feeling pretty good. Eagles get the ball. They're not able to do anything with that possession, but they finally get the ball back at their own like 10-yard line. I think it was their own 9-yard line. This last drive to take the lead was just an absolute masterclass by the offense and specifically by Hurts. Um, 91 yards, took time off the clock, but he was dotting everything. He was making third down conversions, fourth down conversions. He was running the ball. He was throwing it with accuracy, like just had so much command of the offense. And like, this is why we get so frustrated as fans of this team because like we know it's there. We know that it's there and we know that they can do it, and like we just want to see more consistency because when your passing attack produces -1 total yards in the first half, and then you come out in this last drive when the Rams are when they're doing everything they can to stop you, and you're just carving them up, and just amazing. Couple tush pushes in there, but the play of the day to me, besides the blocked field goal, was 4th and goal, all the chips on the table, and Hurts throws an absolute strike to Smitty in the end zone, and they take the lead. And just a total, again, just masterclass is the word that comes to mind for the way that he executed that final drive. It was awesome. Couple tush pushes in there. Love it. I love the tush push so much. I love how everybody hates it, but like it works. And like if you hate it, your team can do it too. Like that was one thing I was thinking about on that fourth down, the fourth and 1, the one that I just talked about where Jordan Davis blew the guy up in the backfield. It's like, man, if only the Rams had a play that they could go to in a short yardage situation. Um, but instead they have to go to their back. It gets blown up in the backfield, and didn't work out for him. So tush push is great, and then it sets up, obviously the final drive. The Rams get the ball into field goal range, and you're thinking it's over. And you know me, I'm kind of thinking, all right, well, I guess we're going to be 2-2 because they're not going to win in Tampa next week. They're lining up for it. They get the ball. It's a very makeable field goal. It's like I think it was a 44-yarder. And we're all kind of just getting ready for it. I'm sitting there hoping, maybe he'll miss it. Like maybe he'll shank it or something. But there was actually one guy. I had a bunch of people over yesterday to watch the game. There was one guy. His name's Brian. Was at my house, and as they're lining up for it, he actually said, halfway joking around, like, "Hey, maybe they'll block it again." And I kind of looked at him like, "Yeah, okay, dude. Like, that'll be the day. 2 blocked field goals in the same day." And then, lo and behold, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis just destroy the right side of that offensive line, trying to hold them up. Um, this was like the sickest, like most athletic play you'll ever see. Not only does he block the kick, he pushes the guy over, jumps up higher than anyone you've ever seen, blocks the kick, runs after it, like does the most. Go back and watch how flawlessly he scoops that ball while running full speed. Just like the textbook scoop, and he just outruns everybody. Like, go back and just look at how fast this guy, who's like 6'6", 300 pounds, just outruns the entire team. And he scores a touchdown, and it was great. And, typically, like, ideally, I think the smart thing to do would be just fall on it. The game's over. God forbid anything crazy were to happen. But it was so much fun. So cool to just see him scoop it, sprint to the end zone, just another touchdown as time expired. I know that absolutely destroyed a lot of people's bets yesterday, but I love it, man. Again, it was one of those moments, like, I'll always remember who was there. We were all in the backyard watching the game, like going nuts, jumping up and down, hugging each other. And it was just so much fun. And I do not take, and I hope none of you do either, I do not take this era of Eagles football for granted. There's so much fun. Every week, there's some kind of new adventurous way for them to win a game, but more times than not, they come out on top, and they're a really fun team to root for. And they just never say die, man. There's something really cool, like how I said to a couple of people yesterday, like, how easy would it have been for them to just, like, again, the worst first half you've ever seen. They come out, second play of the third quarter, they turn the ball over. Rams scored 2 plays later. It's like, I think it would have been pretty easy for them to just kind of say, you know what? Today's not our day. We'll get him next week. But they just didn't. They just kept fighting. They kept scratching, clawing, and like you really, really gotta drive a stake through this team's heart, or else they're just gonna keep coming back and they're gonna keep fighting. So it's very cool when your team has that mentality and that mindset. So a lot of fun. The last thing I'll say about this, so people who listen to this podcast know me. They know I am a pessimist when it comes to the Eagles. I'm not saying that they're going to be this like dynasty that wins, 2 out of the next 4 Super Bowls. I'm not saying that. But one thing that I'm noticing is that, man, I think obviously winning the championship is like the best feeling as a sports fan, but like, man, this is very high up there. And it's the fact that, like, the team's really good and everyone hates them so much, and they're just winning these like weird wonky games that, like, I feel like I remember the Patriots. Like, remember how the Patriots, when their dynasty days were going, it was like, oh, of course they won on like a kickoff return touchdown, like with no time left. And it's like, just kind of see like the stuff that never happened to any other team would happen to the Patriots. And even last year is a good example with the Chiefs, right? Like, oh, of course they win on a missed field goal at the end. Um, and just the fact that they just won the Super Bowl, everyone hates them. Like, everyone is rooting for their downfall, and like they're winning in these crazy, like, untraditional ways, and it's making people so mad. It's one of the best feelings as a sports fan that I can really think of. And it's so great and it's so much fun, and like everyone hates them and everyone hates Hurts, and it's just so great to relish in how mad everybody is. Because you guys know me, and I'm a very big troll. I like to troll people, and like this is like just it's like this. It's like the Eagles are trolling everybody, and everybody is falling for it. So it's a lot of fun. Um, I love this team. I think they're great. I think if they play like that, and if they can get the run game going, then they're going to be really hard to stop. Which brings me to next week. Next week, we are back in Tampa Bay, where the worst team I've ever seen played week 4 of September last year. And fun fact, Jalen Hurts has won 17 games in a row that he's started and finished. This coming Sunday will be the 1 year anniversary of the last game that he started and finished, and they lost the game. So that was, of course, who could forget, listeners of this podcast, if you've been listening for that long, that was the day that I melted down and I said that the Eagles were the worst team I'd ever saw. And then they went on their bye week and they then became the best team I've ever saw. So it was great, but I'm 100% expecting a loss. Tampa has been their house of horrors for the past few years. They can't beat Baker Mayfield. They can't beat Todd Bowles. But you know what? They're going to have their full stable of guys this time. Last year, they were missing everybody. There was no AJ, no Devontae, no Lane Johnson. So it was really a skeleton crew out there last time. Look, they have a shot to win. I truly am expecting them to not win that game. I wouldn't be shocked if they won. I think it'll be, even though they're favored by, I think, 3.5. So it certainly wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. But I just, again, I'll believe that they win in Tampa when I see it. So hopefully that happens, but I'm not super optimistic. But overall, again, if you go 3-1 each month, you're 13-4 at the end of the year. Right now, as it stands, they're going to be 3-1 for the month of September. And then it will be, then it'll be home for the Denver Broncos, which, who knows? Who knows if the Broncos are any good yet. Last thing I'll say, I may have to start doing a Let's Mock Philadelphia fans on Twitter, because, guys, let me say, let's all be cool and kind of act like we've been there before. Man, I saw some just weird stuff from Philadelphia Eagles Twitter over the past day or so. Just weird. You guys know I love the Eagles. I love them so much. I love all my teams. I love them so much. I get really happy when they win and I get really bummed out when they lose. And yesterday I was jumping for joy and running around my backyard and high-fiving and hugging everybody that was there, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. But I turned on Twitter and there's just weird reactions. People I don't know, people filming themselves and saying shut the F up, and it's guys, calm down. Calm down. Be happy that they won. You don't have to film yourself and broadcast it to the internet telling everyone to go F themselves. Because, it's okay. Just be happy that they won. Just be happy. That's it. You don't have to, your first instinct shouldn't be, let me curse everybody off. You should be happy and celebrate with your friends and family. You shouldn't instantly go and say, oh, let me say something to the haters. That's what I saw. A lot of stuff. Oh, it's why are you giving these people any mind? It's really stupid. And just be happy instead of spiteful. So that, I think, is all I got. Hopefully Andrew feels better by next week. I'm sure he will. We got a lot of fun, exciting stuff coming up here. Obviously, NFL is in full swing. We've got the last week of the regular season here for baseball, so the playoffs will be starting. I'm sure that we're going to get into some baseball playoff previews. NBA, NHL seasons are going to be starting up, so we're going to be getting into previewing those respective seasons. And it's a great time of year to be a sports fan. I love the fall. It's great. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Everybody throw us a like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.
Silly pride and Sistad soul, Andrew rapping and wild bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams, right behind the scenes. It seems Philly versus NY, who the call. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, Sistad, Brad unite. Philly